Hello, class, and happy Friday. All right, we just have a little review lesson. Let's go ahead and just review the letters that we learned this week, the 2 new letters that we learned. Y'all remember what they were? It was, what's this letter? The letter E. Do you remember what sound E makes? It's kind of tricky. Makes an sound. And then, you remember the second letter we learned this week? You remember that letter? It's the letter R. Do you remember what sound it makes? What sound R makes? Makes a r sound. All right, so let's go ahead and practice these. All right, so here's uppercase E, and here's lowercase e, but they both make the same sound. They both make an sound, like the name Ed. So we say E, Ed, Make sure you've got the E sound right. Make sure you're saying an sound. Sounds really similar to A, but A makes an sound, kind of like you're screaming. And then I makes an I sound. Your nose gets a little scrunched up when you say I sound. I. So E is kind of in between those. It makes an sound, like Ed. Okay, so I'm going to say it first, and then your turn with echo. So, E, Ed, All right, your turn. Here's echo. E, Very good. E, Ed, Okay, before we practice writing E, let's go over the R sound too, and then we'll practice writing them. So for R, to help us remember that R makes a R sound like rat, we say R, rat, R, kind of like you're growling. R, rat, R. All right, so here comes your turn. Here's echo. You ready? Very good. R, rat, R. All right, let's start writing. So let's get your markers and boards out. Or you can use paper and a pencil. I think I sent home earlier this week some lined paper with the skyline, plain line, grass line in it. So if you have that, great. If not, no big deal. You can just use any pencil and paper is fine, or your markers and boards. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with capital E, uppercase E. So there's no curvy lines in uppercase E. Looks like all straight lines. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 straight lines. Okay, here we go. We're going to put your marker on the skyline and go straight down to the grass line. Then put your marker back where you started on the skyline, and you're going to slide over on the skyline. Put your marker on the plane line. You're going to slide over on the plane line. Put your marker on the grass line. You're going to slide over on the grass line. And there's your capital E. So double check. Make sure it doesn't go above the skyline. Make sure your line in the middle is right on the plane line. Make sure your capital E does not go below the grass line. All right, there's capital E. If you want to pause the video and practice a couple more capital E's, you can. But when you're ready, we're going to move on to lowercase e. It looks totally different than uppercase E, doesn't it? It looks so different, but it both makes the same sound. Both makes an sound, like Ed. Okay, so for lowercase e, it's so weird. You're going to start like in between the skyline and the grass line. It's so strange. And you're going to slide forward, and then you're going to go up to the plane line and down around to the grass line. And there's your lowercase e. I'm going to do that one again because that one's pretty tricky. You're going to start in between the skyline and the grass line. So weird. What a weird place to start. And then you're going to slide forward. You're going to go up to this plane line and down around to the grass line. And there's your lowercase e. Okay, I'm going to erase my e's so I have room to practice R. Okay, so now my board is erased and I'm ready to practice my R's. Let's start with uppercase R first, with big capital R. All right, so it makes a R sound. Put your marker on the skyline, and we're gonna go straight down to the grass line. Then put your marker back where you started on the skyline, and you're gonna curve around to the plane line. Look, it looks just like the letter P so far, but we're not done. Then we're gonna slant down to the grass line, and there's our uppercase R. I'll do that one again. Put your marker on the skyline, go straight down to the grass line, then put your marker back on the skyline. We're gonna curve around to the plane line, and then slant down to the grass line. So make sure your uppercase R doesn't go above the skyline. Make sure it doesn't go below the grass line. There's uppercase R. Now let's practice some lowercase R's. Lowercase R looks pretty different too, but it makes the same sound, the r sound, like rat. Okay, let's do some lowercase R's. So lowercase R, put your marker on the plane line, on the dotted plane line, and you're gonna go straight down to the grass line. Then, on the plane line, you're gonna give it a little curve forward. And there's lowercase R. Let's try that one again. Put your marker on the plane line and go straight down to the grass line. Then, put your marker back where you started on the plane line and give it a little curve forward. And that's lowercase R. So they both make a r sound. We wrote a lot of R words in our journals the other day, right? Red and ribbon and wrapped and so many other R words y'all came up with. You did really well with that. Okay, everybody, let's put your marker caps back on nice and tight so they don't dry out if you were using a marker. And if you were using your board, you can erase your boards and you can put them both back in your Fundations bags. If you were using marker and board, if you were using paper and a pencil, you can put your paper and pencil back where they belong. And that was it for our review lesson today. Y'all did great handwriting this week, especially with those tricky E's. You did wonderful. All right, hope everybody has a great weekend. Bye. Bye, everybody.